Hello. Jenna is still putting her face
Hello.
on. There you go.
I
Oh,
am
yeah.
here.
You have headphones, like headphones.
Yeah, I always do. Just normally I pull my hair in front of it.
Oh, what? The whole time? I've never
Yes,
noticed. Okay.
correct.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah.
I'm gonna
I'm
fix
that.
them
I'm very
actually.
observant. What?
I'm gonna
Okay.
fix them actually.
Okay. Turn off the camera so we don't see how you do that. Secret shadowy things. Well,
Ta-da! That's how they normally are. And it's
I still
you're
notice
still
them
there.
now, but I never noticed them before. I am new. Husband observation fail. Oh God, yeah. She knows better than to like secretly go get her hair done and then come back and expect me to notice. But I will let the beard grow out of control, and then I will go do a significant trim, and then I'll play the same shit on you, and you don't even realize I did anything. So how's that?
Fun.
Oh, I
Isn't
just got.
that the sign of a great marriage whenever you test your spouse?
Yep. Only thing we're missing is we're not putting it on TikTok. We got to do that. We got to secretly film each other. All right. I got an alert that temps to plummet tonight. Is that really a thing? Is that happening? We're getting like a winter.
Oh, probably not.
Now, when they say plummet, it's
Tips
it's
plummet.
74. Is it going to be like 60? Oh no.
So it's gonna get in the 60s tonight and in the 50s
Nice.
tomorrow,
Perfect.
and might get down to the 40s tomorrow night.
Oh, that
That's
resembles a.
plummeting, right?
I mean, it kind of
People who
is.
live in like Wisconsin and Michigan in
I
Canada.
mean, the 40s, that's chilly. That's when I start to think about putting on layers or a layer, because like I'm default shorts and short sleeves all the time. And even when I have to go outside for just a few minutes, it's all right. But any longer than that in the 40s, then I might have to put on at least long pants.
You know,
And mostly that's so I don't look ridiculous because everyone else is layered up.
do you need pants before we go to the clash, just in case?
I wore pants to the last clash.
No.
Oh, I wore khakis. I just couldn't find my jeans. Or somewhere.
You definitely wore shorts most of the time when we were at the clash.
Not this time, but last year I did.
You know,
But this current year I wore
you
pants.
cannot wear shorts and a polo or a t-shirt to Roxanne's wedding.
Yeah, I didn't think about wedding attire. How gussied up do they want us to be? How
You
fancy?
specifically have to be extra fancy, is what I heard.
Okay.
Just you.
Well, I don't want to. 74 right now down here in Florida, where Nathan is. Isn't it always raining in Seattle? Not always, right?
Didn't Rico say that actually close to where he lives is one of the rainiest cities?
Because lake effect.
Yeah,
Makes
something
sense.
like that.
They form their own little atmospheres, ecosystems. Not raining today, Candy says.
Is she
Yeah,
in
right.
like Seattle proper?
I mean, I don't know. Washington, Edmonds. Okay. I don't
Just
know how close that is.
well, remember, I was talking to you about like if we ever took a trip to the co-op, we would have to go to like a big city, and the biggest city is Seattle, and it's like
Yeah.
a 17-minute drive.
Yeah, well, I mean, there'd have to like I know Corey's mentioned people come from all over the country and maybe even globally to visit the store.
Mhm.
And I feel like there'd have to be a little bit more to that trip than just going to the retail store. Like I'm gonna get there,
Especially if we bring the kids.
those people, and they're gonna just be like, "Are you here to buy something?" I don't know. Just wanted to see it. It's a store. I'm sure it's a nice store. And then it's like you're there and you stay for about as long as you can stay without like being looked at funny, like, why is he still here? And then you leave. And then yeah, something else to do. It's different from going to Dan's warehouse where
Mhm.
you could spend the day in there and still like not really look at every tank properly.
Oh, look, 17 minutes in normal places. Seattle traffic, 17 minutes could be an hour to an hour and a half. Is that kind of like when you like used to have to go to DC for work and it's like a 10-minute walk or like an hour drive?
I mean, yeah, it's walking and it's trains. They didn't even give me a car rental for DC. Like normally you get a car rental DC, they're just like you take the trains, don't get out in that traffic. And yeah, I've seen it. It's bad. No thanks. Syracuse, New York is
Yeah.
the rainiest in the US. Okay. You best believe you would be stopping by to see me, right? Hell yeah. If I'm invited, I will go. Absolutely. I just don't
Also,
presume.
also people are like invited here so that Steven doesn't have to leave the
Yeah,
house.
sure. Sure.
If
I mean,
anyone ever
not unannounced, but yeah.
No,
Never
we need like a few days notice.
just I mean, there's like tidy up the house and then there's like mental preparation.
Mhm.
Oh my god, people. Well, open invitation.
I'll show up tomorrow. That's not enough notice, Whip.
uh
That's
no, I need to get a good night's sleep. 3 nights in a row, my brain is like, we were good. You don't need that sleep. And
but that means we need to leave our houses. That's the problem here too.
it is inconvenient. Awfully inconvenient. Well, how's everybody's plants doing? Anyone have any plant topics, plant questions, plant observations, general
Plant
plant
thoughts,
plant things,
plant
planty McPlant,
concerns, plant compliments.
plant hate, like just absolute hatred for plants. We can talk about that. Could be a therapy session. That
What
is
is your
not Kelly.
least favorite plant?
Duckweed. Well, my least favorite plant that I have, duckweed, followed closely by guppy grass. But guppy grass, I think, has more use than duckweed. Duckweed is just kind of a bummer, just overall. But guppy grass, you can grow a crap ton of plant mass in a breeder tank.
Okay,
So
what about ugliest plant? And why is it the banana plant?
you and your banana plant can work out your issues. I'm okay with
No,
plant. And I'm also okay with not ever having it. It's it's not that great.
correct. That is the correct choice.
Uh, the ugliest plant. Uh, hmm,
My
I don't know.
favorite
I'll probably
is
think of it.
Anubias or Pogostemon stellatus octopus or maybe water wisteria. I can I can see Anubias. Like,
They all have their places. The Pogo Stem and Stellatus octopus, I think, is great in a large tank. Man, it's a weed though. It takes over. It can get huge. But I do still keep it in a couple of places. I still have it in Zachary's tank. It's going nuts. I need to go trim that up. Um,
Put it in
And water
CO2.
wisteria is also kind of a big takeover plant. It looks good though. Like it looks really nice.
Wait, this one.
And Whip loves duckweed, but mostly just because it's the only plant he owns that thrives. Does it even thrive though, or is it just there? We gotta wait. Don't you have a sword that's doing okay? What I
Yeah,
feel like you, yeah.
well, maybe he showed it on camera and that was too much pressure and it was like, no. I don't know. He did show a sword that I believe he said his wife picked out at Aquashella.
Oh, so maybe your wife needs to pick the plants, and that's how you get them to survive. So
His
there's
wife.
Kelly. She's on her way to Tennessee to do hood rat things with her friends, like go to the aquarium.
What if Whip's wife picks out some like Xyrus and Hydra chai? You
Well,
think they'll survive?
I don't, but sometimes there's only one way to find out for yourself. So bougie fish did something dumb, she says. That's her words. I'm not like judging her. Dosed my 5-gallon desk tank with 10 milliliters of Easy Green, shrimp plus fish, and what do you know? Everything's perfectly fine. Nice. Yeah, I don't even count the pump sometimes whenever I'm dosing. Like I just like drip, 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 drip. I'm just like, oh wait, that was a 10-gallon. But that's right. I and like I've mentioned before, I have that bowl, the 2.5-gallon bowl of Boost that I've just been doing like quadruple. Yesterday I did 2 quadruple doses in there because I forgot that I did one earlier until I did it. No, there's no algae at all. It's just it's producing a lot more Boost, and I have to trim the bowl again. Yeah, it's doing well. Like it's amazing how like algae resistant a system can be when you have healthy plants. And that's like you have healthy plants and you have the right amount of light. And suddenly like algae has nothing. There can be all the nutrients in the water that the plants are not currently using, but still no algae. Scotty says, if my waste RODI is 252 TDS, is it okay to use for my planted CO2 tank? Or should I use RODI with 0 TDS?
I think you need to know what the TDS is.
I thought your RODI was for the CO2 tank. And also, I wouldn't if that's 252 parts per million of arsenic or copper. But I think his water is like medium hard. I don't remember.
I would use waste RODI to water plants outside.
Yeah.
I would not put it anywhere that has fish, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
what I use my wastewater for here in the swamp, where we're not going to run out of water, is I use it to make a really soft spot in the corner of the yard and run some of it down the driveway. But yeah, just it depends on what's in it. Like I could use my wastewater in a tank and it would be fine. It'd just be like slightly higher alkalinity, because that's really all I'm getting rid of in my water.
But does Scotty know exactly what is in his water? I have a feeling no. And so without knowing what was in it to begin with, you don't know what was remaining when the RODI water is taken out, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think Scotty should throw away his TDS meter, but he's not gonna. I have one. I'm not gonna throw it away. You use it to verify that your RODI is still making RODI water.
Yeah,
Jody loves water lettuce for its angelic roots and the ease of removal when there's too much of it.
much
Yeah, I
easier than
do.
duckweed.
Oh yeah, it gets big and chunky and long roots. Yeah, I do like water lettuce for certain uses. Guppy grass for fry cover. Yes, not the prettiest, but great for protecting fry. Yep, and it is really rapid growing, um,
Mhm.
for sure. Perfect for breeding. I'm just not much of a breeder. Like the mosh pit, yeah, but like I can just get all kinds of random plant mass growing in the mosh pit. I don't have to do the bulk plant production for breeding purposes, which if I did, guppy grass would for sure be the go-to.
So Whip said he was typing this as we were talking about it, but there is a question for the large sword that didn't die. It has runners. When I plant it, do I plant those too? If so, how?
So the runners, if you can see roots and you can see leaves, then I would snip them off and just plant them separately. But I would wait until they're, I don't know, a couple inches, 2 or 3 inches long, the leaves, to plant them. But yeah, you can cut those off and
And float them?
fertilize, put a root tab under there if you can, something get them started. And Kelly
This
guarantees that your TDS meter is shitty and inaccurate. I can guarantee it too.
Britton just had a vent.
I just had some psycho on the co-op forum get mad at me about trying to buy lights.
Oh, not
Well,
the forum, the Facebook group.
okay, well that makes a lot more sense because it's Facebook and people forget about humans and human interaction and human behavior and general decency on Facebook. It's a weird thing. But also, Brandon, how dare you try to buy lights? What is wrong with you? What kind of lights are we talking about? Maybe they're particularly enraging lights. 0KH 200GH out of tap. That's wild. Some wild water.
He said that supposedly he needs the TDS meter for his Caridina shrimp. I'm guessing. He just said shrimp.
Yeah, I mean, it's just yeah. Make sure the RODI is producing non-conductive water, and once you get a feel for how much mineralizer you have to add to reach a certain TDS, you just you can use that as like a gauge of like, did I remember to mineralize this water or not? Okay, I did.
Yeah.
But I think that, I mean, that's just extra GH water, extra hard water. That's not bad water to use, for general application.
Yeah.
Dee says, I usually do the proper amount of squirts of Easy Green, and then just because I like seeing it hit the water, a couple more. Yeah, I like seeing it disperse in the water, and I like seeing the fish freak out like they're being fed. Mary Oliver says, if you have low substrate, fish choice, seen a video, Australian, he chooses place pot with plants and substrate and plant plants. Your opinion. So pots with plants and substrate. If it's a large enough pot for a plant that can either accommodate that, like the pot can accommodate the plant and the vast roots it may or may not produce, or it's got slots in it so the roots can exit and go into the tank and be free, that's okay to do. It's not ideal. It's never ideal to like restrict your root growth right out of the gate, and also long term, but people do it.
Yeah.
It's just, there's a lot of situations you put plants in where they're still going to be fine. Like there's the
I would
rules of like, this is how you make a plant do the absolute best. These are the absolute best water parameters. This is how you give it unlimited access to carbon and blah 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 blah. And then there's the whole spectrum of not killing it.
I would imagine there are definitely plants that are more conducive for putting in a pot than others, like a sword or something that's gonna have an extensive root system.
Yeah,
Probably
I feel like a sword would
less
get
appropriate.
root bound pretty quickly. Unless if there's holes in it and they can, the roots can go somewhere, that is definitely helpful. Yeah, okay. Yeah, she said he cut slots terracotta with hole in the bottom. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's the proper TDS for good coffee.
I don't know. What do the coffee snobs do? Like when do they just start with straight distilled or RODI for their coffee? Like it makes sense to do that. Just like get
Would
all
you
the.
want to use not RODI, but just RO? Because aren't you supposed to not drink the
Yeah,
DI
as a rule of
portion?
like don't drink it as your source of hydration, but like you're making a cup of coffee, you're not quenching your thirst. So if that, like, I don't even know what, I'm sure there is the coffee snob rule. There's all kinds of coffee snob rules, like how dare you ever wash your mug with soap? Don't ever do that. Filthy mug forever. And then there's like certain materials you don't want to use to drink coffee from. And I mean, we're all of us are making coffee wrong. That's
Moose says TDS meter makes a great coffee stir stick. Dee Dee says, I was using my wastewater on some tanks, but Stephanie Aquarialife advised me not to. So now it waters the yard and tree line. Yeah, I know Scotty was saying he hates to waste the wastewater, but maybe that's when you get some plants.
I don't know. I think it very much depends on what's in your wastewater. Bless you. Because if you are just getting rid of like some excess minerals, like excess calcium and magnesium, there's going to be a little bit higher concentration of chlorine, maybe, and phosphate. What else is typically in water? I mean, usually water has some buffer in it. And then it's going to have trace elements and, slightly lower than the acceptable amount of arsenic and things like that. You just you just treat it like it's kind of grosser water than your tap water by, I don't know, 50%. But there are people who still deal with even worse water and keep fish in it, and it's fine. It definitely depends on the fish you want to keep.
Yeah.
The reason I don't deal with the wastewater is convenience. I don't really use a lot of RODI, and then I'm literally just taking like 2 or 3 gallon jugs of RODI at a time per week. So I'm not gonna wait around and store a few gallons of wastewater. Shirley says the first live plant I had was a piece of guppy grass that snuck in with some shrimp into my tank. It rooted itself in my clown confetti gravel and grew like it owned the place. Yeah, you don't need much to start with, just like duckweed. Very handy though for breeding.
And then Whip had a follow-up question.
As close, cut them where as close to the plant as possible. So like there's a shoot and there's like different nodes of sword growth. I'll like cut like an inch of the shoot on each side, and just it kind of makes a nice anchor to bury it. I mean, it'll end up rotting away anyway, but I've done well doing it that way for convenience. Again, I'm all about convenience, and if that means doing things slightly wrong, then hooray.
Oh, I don't think it's a cord. I think it's a fold in the green screen.
No. Oh no, the illusion's broken. Our tanks are not real. We're not actually fish keepers, and we'd have no aquariums, no experience with this at all.
Brandon, I'm starting to feel like you always bring out the best in people.
So did he say what kind of light he was buying? That was just
he said he sent you the combo.
Okay. If it was, I mean, if it was a jerk in the co-op.
I betrayed her. Shouldn't have the warning. I actually was talking to Annette today, and I was like, Steven hasn't gotten a lot of sleep. There's a good chance there's no wet your plants.
Yeah.
So then surprise.
Second wind. Meta just announced it's unleashing hundreds of bots, complete with fake profiles, to interact on Facebook. They just announced that. Like I'm 100% sure they've been doing that for a long time.
Just every time I think I get a favorite plant, one of my fish or turtles eats it.
Oof. Yeah. Did you skip anything? Because I was
I am trying not to skip things that aren't just like general, like greetings and stuff.
Okay. I thought I saw something, but I don't have the mental fortitude to
Like,
actually
this is
remember it
where
or find it or anything like that. So yeah. You cut slots? Yeah, okay. Cool. Got it.
because you had said that, and then Candy wants to know what post so that she can take care of it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like if it's someone being an ass on the co-op group, they get dealt with. It's actually a moderated group. People don't
And
just get mocked.
just about the coffee. Never have to wash your mug if there's always coffee in it. Yeah, it's got to use your wastewater to make your coffee.
Oh, this is long. Oh, this is a private message.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's long, but yeah. Man, you got a lot of patience, Brenton. I just block and I wish them well and then block.
Whip says his wastewater doesn't go into the sump pit. It then out into the grass. I have absolutely no problem with that. And then Kelly said Whip should dispose of his RO wastewater as hazardous waste. Okay, here's a question. If some small MTS theoretically went down the drain, could they survive in the septic tank?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I feel like they can survive anything.
I think if you don't want them to survive, then they can. But I don't have a clue. I know that they're resilient. There's a lot of nastiness in the septic tank, but maybe they thrive on it. I don't know.
Geek is calling you up. Why haven't you set up his RODI unit?
It took me a while to hook up mine too, and it wasn't. Once I did it, it wasn't that bad. I needed a day to look at the instructions and wrap my brain around it, having never dealt with one before, and figure out how I was going to store the water. Thanks, Steve. Gifted 5 memberships. They went to B Wood, Aqualust, who Mississippi Hippie Fishies, Jose Davila, and Aquarium Talk TV.
Why did you have to like make that noise after Aqualust?
Because it's Aqualust. It's lusty. Unless you live in the desert, you probably should put your RO wastewater down the drain. I wouldn't even use it on houseplants.
Oh,
I mean, doesn't it depend though? Like, isn't not all water is all that toxic? I mean, I feel like, so for example, Ian Atkins, he was using an RO unit for salt water, but it was removing literally like, I don't know, 10 TDS. Like, what how awful could that be?
and Grey Machine Sweden asked, what is MTS? It's Malaysian trumpet snails.
Or multi-tank syndrome, which,
but in the context of the question,
you can't
I
put
don't
tanks down the drain and they wouldn't survive in a septic system. So Malaysian trumpet snails. Coffee made from water from a mountain stream, cooked on open fire on an August evening, is the best. So if it's not August, no coffee for you. Not sure if it's the water or the setting that makes the difference. I'm sure there's a lot of psychological factors with it too. I mean, I can't deny that switching from the Keurig to the AeroPress, it's way less convenient, but the coffee is objectively better. Like way better.
And Dee Dee had asked about Candy's birthday. She went to Blow Glass and they made glass floats in a
Oh,
bowl.
that's cool. I've always wanted to try that at least once. And that, and also forging my own blade, like in that show Forged in Fire.
Will it keel?
Yeah, exactly.
Barbara Jackson has a question.
20 long, 6-year tank with eco complete, low light, and so many different plants and fish, but always has the worst green hair algae from the very start. Could it be the eco complete? It's the only tank with it. Well, the Eco Complete has a knack for storing mulm because it is porous and it kind of has starter mulm to begin with. After 6 years, I'm sure there's some buildup there. If you're getting the hair algae, like most of my hair algae, when I get hair algae, it's at the top of the tank and it's like hooked on to the plants that are at the surface of the water. And that's mostly, it's a light issue for starters, and then it becomes a cleanliness issue because all the debris and shit gets caught up in the hair algae, which just grows more hair algae. So I would look at your lighting, and especially like your, I don't want to say gravel vac because not everyone needs to gravel vac, but maybe look at some areas that have loose debris and stuff, maybe turkey baster type of thing, and just see what you can do there. But mostly lighting.
Big
Anyone
Steve
else?
says, oh,
Scotty was saying, anyone else buffering, or is it just him? And Moose says, just Scotty. Oh, nope. And Scotty,
I haven't gotten any notifications like the little Wi-Fi thing.
Buffering, no. Sorry. Hopefully it's not too bad. Because otherwise I have no solution. Well, yeah.
Seems like maybe it fixed itself.
Okay, I'm getting a lot of yes buffering. Been good on my end. Slight buffering. I got kicked off the stream. Well,
Maybe someone banned her. Did you ban Kelly? You're like 2 strikes of not appearing and you're out.
Big Steve's wondered that about blackworms. What survivability? Oh yeah, and septic. Okay, well, the people who are experiencing the buffering, is it like unlistenable? Like just keeps on and off and not? Yeah, I don't know.
Lucky me. Let's play games while everyone else is buffering.
What the fish time? Just pull up an old video of it.
It's December 30th. Every fish is worth 500 points. Who's gonna be the ultimate winner?
That's Jenna saying that, Zen, just so you know. It's not me. I would never do something so horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Could I pocket ban myself? Speaking of trumpet snails, Candy, what do? Candy has trumpet snail solutions?
No, I think she was going to send him like a pound of Malaysian trumpet snails.
Wow.
Wasn't she? Am I remembering that right from some chat somewhere? The weekend is a blur.
Scotty just wanted to start drama and mention buffering, knowing it's a sensitive word for me. It's not the word buffering. It's if people's stream experience is suboptimal, I don't like that. Especially when I have no indication that it's even happening. I could just pull it up on my phone to see like how much it's really is freezing. Perhaps.
Oh,
Is the kitty on the router now? She can't jump that high anymore.
no. Okay. Yeah, Candy said she's gonna send them tomorrow after work.
I need
Is
some
there
ram
mail
thorn.
going out tomorrow?
Yeah, it's
Does
New
the
Year's Eve.
mail?
It's a regular ass day for
Okay. Is
everyone
New
but you.
Year's Day a regular day?
No, that's
though?
a
Okay.
federal holiday.
Well,
No,
I work.
you're the only one who doesn't have to work tomorrow.
I work for the government, and the governor of Louisiana declared it an official holiday.
Yep. Priorities.
I won't get into politics, but it's
But Louisiana sucks. It's bad. It really doesn't even matter which party is in office though. In Louisiana, it's just insta corruption.
You've heard the joke like Louisiana doesn't ask for corruption in their politics;
We
they
demand it.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see buffering over here, so I'm gonna assume it's all fixed forever.
Mm-hmm. Or that Scotty caused it.
Yeah, I like that too.
I actually know where y'all live. But then Zen would have to leave her house. I have no problem with Zen coming here, even if it's for confrontation. Oh no. Shady Grady spent the whole day in the hospital.
Oh crap! It's not the foot again, right? No more foot cage.
I guess we'll give him a minute to see.
Oof.
Zen, that's an empty threat if I've ever heard one.
Barbara has a question. Another question, a follow-up. Going to remove the Eco-Complete as I want Corey's in the 20 long anyway. The hair algae will grow in 3 to 5 days after removal, and it's not just the top, but a big cloud filling top to bottom. So how often do you do water changes in that tank? If it's not super frequent, maybe up the water changes a little bit, but for sure do as much manual removal of the hair algae as you can, and if that light is dimmable, dim the hell out of it. Like dim it to a point where you're looking at your tank and you're like, this is not pleasant, I can't even see the fish, and then kind of incrementally go up from there, because your plants are not going to just like keel over from dimming the light for a few days, or really even for like a couple of weeks, as long as they get some light. And like not the super demanding ones. I have a few that if you like blink the light during the day, it'll die. But for the most part,
did you get rid of the one tank that had did you get rid of the Eco-Complete? I feel like you did.
No, I just buried it under
okay.
under some what's it called, stratum and sand.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like gonna destroy your tank, and like it's just not my favorite. It's my least favorite substrate actually. But if you already have it and everything's doing fine.
If it were me, I would cap the Eco-Complete with sand and keep the mulm for the plants.
Yeah. For sure. That works. I've done a lot of capping of filth. Just keep it capped.
Yeah. Okay, Shady Grady, no cage, just MRIs and checks for infection. I was walking in thinking I was done, but nope, surprise. Oh.
Well, checking for infection, and hopefully they don't find anything. Because, yeah. Checkups are good. Bad news is not good.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And MSC just chimed in with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hopefully no bad news.
Yeah. So Mhm. Also, New Year's Eve is not a public holiday in the United States, I guess.
Not that I know of. I know we're not off for it. It's yeah. I have to look at the list of federal holidays. I'm kind of blanking out on them now. Man, I need some sleep. Like I just
Sometimes like the holidays that I know will have off are like not listed, and then they're declared a holiday by the governor because that's how it works at this state. So like Memorial Day, obviously that's a federal holiday. Usually not on our calendar that we have that day off, but they always declare it. But we just kind of have to hope and wait that it's not some like weird year where they're like, nope, you don't get it this year.
Oh shit, I misread what MNC said. I thought he was saying to Shady Grady that he heard that he's been in the hospital. No, MNC has also been in the hospital since 5 a.m. Okay. Hopefully everything's all right there.
And he was just on a stream last night.
Mm-hmm. Probably don't do enough water changes, Barbara says, every other week, 50%. That's not bad. I'd cap it, but it's already 3 to 4 inches deep. So capping it would have a pretty shallow water area. Yeah, I think with mine, I took everything out and I scooped some of it out and made a thin layer of it. But man, I do not like doing tank resets like that. I had to do that with the plant farm, and it's just plant farm. Gross. It was gross. So much mulm.
Anyone like axolotls? I like axolotls. It's just
I like the idea of
very
them.
warm here most of the time. Like even right now, it's 70 degrees.
Yeah,
So,
that's the thing. Like right now, we could keep an axolotl just fine in the air condition without having intervention like chillers. In the summer, our AC, even though we still have it set to like 68, 69, it struggles in the peak of the day, like July, August. It's not going to get down to that. It's going to still be in the like low 70s, which from what
yeah.
I hear is the upper end to potentially unhealthy for axolotls. So I don't want to be stressed out about taking care of it and end up killing it just because it's too damn hot. And also, I don't like axolotls enough to buy a chiller for one.
Favorite plant in a small aquarium. Can I guess what your answer is going to be?
Go for it because my thoughts aren't really
It's
like coalescing.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, coming
That's
together. My guess would be that your choice would be Boost
hey,
because
that's a good one.
that's what you have in a 2-gallon bowl.
Good job. That is a good one. I like Boost. Boost good. Good guess.
I would think any of the like epiphytes that
Hydrocotyle.
grow kind of small, like Boost, the smaller smaller leaf Anubias.
Yeah, Anubias Nana Petite is a good one.
Things like S. repens that don't get super tall probably be okay.
Yeah, and like if depending on how your setup is, like you can do Monte Carlo and you can do hydrocotyle tripartita. If you're super diligent about trimming certain stems, you can do some fine leaf stems. Just starts to
Marsilea
get
probably be fine in a
depends on
small.
how tiny we're talking because
Mm,
I would
what
definitely
about
want to go with something that's manageable just because like maintaining and trimming a bunch of fast growers in a small tank, it can be kind of a pain. It can get away from you faster.
hydrocotyle tripartita Japan?
For sure.
And mosses would probably be fine in a small tank.
Yeah, if you like mosses.
So that isn't your favorite plant in an aquarium. What about like micro swords?
Um, Oh, like Liliopsis
Yeah.
brasiliensis. It's not my favorite, but I would
Would
choose
you?
that over hairgrass. But I
Yeah.
don't think I would choose either one, honestly. Let's see. Mary says LRB says you don't need chiller. Raises his in Florida. Just saying. Yeah, but people who like breed and raise axolotls and are very, very much into axolotls and have a lot of specific knowledge about axolotls would the temperature that they would tell me is not something that I can achieve personally in my home.
Yeah.
So that's yeah.
What are good? I'm guessing plants for an axolotl tank. I know a lot of people keep them fairly bare bottom and clean just because
I
they have a huge
don't
bioload.
have a clue. I don't know if they chew on any of them or eat them or what. No clue. Maybe if Foxy's here, Peplin, or someone else who has axolotls
Mhm.
knows how plants do long term in them. I think substrate discussions should put the focus away from what our plants need: light, CO2, nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, and microelements. Um, I would agree with that. I don't think a substrate matters in the least. As long
Yeah.
as it's not something off the wall gross, as long as it's something that allows the roots to grow. Plants will absorb nutrients from their leaves. They will still absorb nutrients to their roots, even if there's like not a nutrient dense supply at their roots. They're still absorbing from their roots. And I've grown plants in just the thick ass layers of sand and nothing
You've
else, and just water column fertilization.
you've
Uh,
grown plants in gravel that I mean the mosh pit is gravel and it's like not delicate gravel.
And just the other day, what was it? The Skeptical Aquarist? I forgot his channel name, but also I've seen him. I've seen that picture on Facebook of showing no substrate
Mhm.
um, and a bunch of val. And then if you ask people about growing val, they will immediately say it's a root feeder. Like, well, yeah, it's a root feeder. Most things that sprout roots will feed from their roots, but plants are underwater, they have a lot more. They've adapted to absorb nutrients in different ways that terrestrial leaves cannot, and that's what that's why in the freshwater hobby, a million people can have a million different ways that they've grown a plant and say it's fine. And so they're like, none of them are the right way, none of them are the wrong way. I do like aqua soil for starting off a tank though, just to kind of get it off on the right foot. Not necessary, helpful. And Annette says, anyone else think Corey and Candy should make a fishy song / video? It's a lot of work. So yeah, do it. So what did MNC say was going on? He said off for CT scan. Did we skip it? Did we miss it? I can't see.
I don't know if I've gotten to that part yet. Maybe. No,
Okay.
I haven't gotten to that part yet. I just saw like Candy had asked if he was okay and he said to be determined.
Shirley says, my house stays along 65 in any season. It starts getting towards 70. I start dying. I don't need a chiller. Yeah. I like axolotl temperatures myself. For sure.
There's a mini Lobelia cardinalis.
There is. It's smaller than the regular one. It just depends on how small of a tank we're talking. But there's mini versions of plants. Just if we're talking like a 5-gallon tank, I don't know if I'd put the lobelia in that, but a 10-gallon, yeah, sure. Can you float boosts until you have time to glue them down? Yeah. I mean, if you're floating it, it's closer to the light. if your water
Yeah.
if your water doesn't have a lot of flow and you're not changing water a lot of the organics can get caught up in the boost, and boost is very prone to spot algae and hair algae because boost does not like to be underwater. So pretty much everything is working against it when you have it submersed. There's just one thing to consider, like it's not quite as resilient as a Nubius, so you can float it for a while depending on conditions.
And I'm seeing some people have said that they do put plants in with their axolotls. Shirley said her axolotls are big enough for sand. She needs to figure out what plants do well in the temp, dim light, and no fertilizer. So knowing that axolotls like it a little bit colder, that's probably more plants than less that can go cooler.
Yeah.
People were saying Anubias, so maybe things with like broad leaves, some guppy grass.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and the cooler water, like you get more dissolved oxygen, you get more dissolved CO2 theoretically. Most plants are pretty good in that like 60 something to 70 range for the most part. So Nubius without issue, some volunteer guppy grass made its way in the tank.
Yeah, Susie Q also raises axolotls. So Foxy's Fishes, Susie Q, they would both be really good resources for axolotl information. Is there anyone else that we can think of offhand who raises them?
Not off the top of my head, but just because I've never been actively looking for axolotls. So. Moose says, love that you guys can talk about the finer details of aquarium plans without being too gatekeepy. Perfect balance. Gatekeeping is bad, like refusing to share ideas and concepts and stuff. I mean, that's how like the typical myths get just copy pasted over and over and over on Facebook and forums, because like all the good information has kind of gone into the archives, being replaced by people that just want to respond to a question.
I know you're not really a big fan of gatekeeping just any information that you have to share, which is why you don't do like a bunch of like members only streams with like extra information.
Well, yeah, and plus most information that I acquire is like something that someone else has already done, and I just piggybacked off of it and tried it myself to verify it. So like there's no, and also like there's no profit motive here. And I understand that when your business is in this hobby, there's a lot of stuff that you need to keep close to your chest just to like preserve your money. But you know, to me, that's like the only reason I could think of to gatekeep. How's my Monstera doing?
Yeah.
I do have Monstera. It's alive. It's growing really slow. I didn't take a picture. I'm gonna have to post something later. I need ideas for baskets in the back of the mosh pit. I have these stupid little apothecary baskets that hook on the back, but I also made a dumb decision years ago and made a 3D background for that tank that I cannot remove and will never be removed. But it makes the hooks too short, and so they suck. And then also I had to put some white mesh on these black baskets to keep this aqua soil in place, and so they're very ugly. But I can't have any, like nothing I can find that's like ready made will sufficiently hook on the back of the tank, and I need a good amount of space, and it needs to be able to hold aqua soil.
So what you're saying is you need, what I heard in the co-op stream is that Geek Boy will print anything that anyone needs for $15 flat rate because he has a 3D printer.
Well, I wasn't going to say that outright, but I was strongly hinting. And I'll probably post in Fishcord the ugliness that I'm dealing with to solicit. So, I mean, there's probably something that's like, duh, obvious, but that's why I need other people to tell me because I'm just not seeing it. I don't know what's out there. It's also kind of why I avoided a 3D printer. It's like I know as soon as I get one, my mind will blank on all ideas. But yeah, Monstera is doing fine. It's just a aesthetically displeasing situation with the baskets back there. So I need some ideas from the fish cord.
Holly got axolotl eggs from Susie Q and hatched them out. I think she sent Foxy some eggs too. Going from fish to reptiles and then to amphibians, I would have axolotl questions.
Green Machine Sweden says, I have an idea about the best way to start a new planet tank, a brand new concept. I just need to try it myself. We'll update you in 2 to 3 months. Did he post what the concept was, or
no? I think he's gonna share it in 2 to 3 months.
Oh, well, I currently look forward to it, and I will have completely forgotten about it within a week. But then when you pop up with it again, it'll be fun. Thank you, Vibes. $4.99 super chat. Happy New Year. Thanks to each and every one of y'all, especially me and you, I guess, for being part of my life for the past year. Me back with family. Happy New Year, Vibes. Good to see you back. And you've been on vacation, but hopefully that shit's over and you're back to streaming because it's ridiculous. Whip says, aren't axolotl found in Mexico, and isn't Mexico hot as balls? How do these creatures? That's a good question. I don't know.
Dee said in cave areas. I think I heard that it's cooler.
Okay.
Mary Oliver wants to know, what is my favorite plant? My favorite plant is one that we can't seem to keep, which is Madagascar lace leaf. But I think of the ones we have,
I gotta find a good bulb source.
I really like the Samolus parviflora red. I like the way the leaves look, the color that it gets. So we have that in a few tanks.
Yeah, and it doesn't need CO2. It just needs sufficient light. And even if you don't have sufficient light, it'll just go green, and it'll still be a passable plant. It's a pretty resilient plant.
I just learned the term gatekeeping, but it feels like people saying you need special light, CO2, fancy substrate to have plants do well feels adjacent to that.
Yeah, I mean, it is like there's the like I said earlier, like there's the list of rules of this is how a plant looks the best and grows the best, and there's a spectrum of water parameters that are actively working against you. And then there's like, here's the range at which a plant survives. And I'm lucky enough to where our water alkalinity is not like a huge barrier where I can only grow like a select list of plants. There's a lot of stuff I can grow. It's just, slower. But yeah, plants have, different purposes, different uses. There's the aquatic garden, there's the planted tank. And I think it's kind of like, it's two different things. A planted tank is a planted tank. It's a range of plants, and there's a lot of focus on the fish. Whereas an aquatic garden, it's like, well, the fish will be fine. Let me make sure this plant is perfect at all costs.
Shady Grady wants to know, why are you growing it in aqua soil? The Monstera, I'm guessing.
You know what? I don't. So the Monstera is just in like one of the apothecary tubes, just dipped down into the water. But there are some other ones that are in the aqua soil. Like, what was it? Some stuff that Luke sent me. And of course, sleepy brain, I cannot think of them, but like they're in Substrate, and I just had aqua soil on hand. to grow them in there. But it's all that shit's kind of shoved in the back. Some in aqua soil, some just kind of loose wedged between plants.
Mary says, don't know what what monstera looks like, but people tie them up to walls. Lace feeler roots eventually will wrap themselves and attach to a wall piece. That's kind of like what our pothos.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the goal, is just seeing what, like, growing stuff all around. Like what's it called, philodendrons. I got those. They're much slower growing, but they'll eventually take over. I got to get something for them to creep up on. And then the monstera, it's a smaller monstera, so it's not going to take over even as much as the pothos will. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to do, is just send everything all around the fish room, sort of wrap all the tanks in live immersed plants to the extent possible.
Yeah. Whip is off to bed. I guess he's feeling sick.
Oh, feel better, Whip.
And
everybody
Scotty
sick, in the hospital.
Apparently was sleeping through our stream. That's what it sounds like.
Go back to bed. Where are you at in the chat? I'm like
at the end.
At the bottom of the chat.
Yeah, at the bottom of the chat. They're talking about the co-op filter polisher, water
you
polisher.
Missed so much that was directed at me. Alex saying if I need a plant holder or something, he's got me. Just shoot him an email.
You said thank you, Alex, and so I assumed that you said thank you, Alex. I might take you up on that.
What in the gaslighting are you talking about?
And so I'm like, well, he read that comment. I'm not gonna worry about it.
Do I have it? Am I okay? I don't have any memory of that. I
don't think I'm gaslighting you. I think I was like up a while, and that came through.
I will believe you, just because it's more convenient to believe you in this moment.
You need to relax.
Guess I need to do more fish keeping to calm down.
The stream wasn't buffering. Scotty was buffering.
That makes sense.
Wait.
Jody's got work. There's Foxy. Foxy, there's about an hour backlog of axolotl questions, so get on that.
Just start talking about axolotls and keep going with every fact you know.
Yep, my axolotl knowledge was like, it's too hot here, so no.
You're gonna be like, why didn't you tell me that Foxy came in? Anyway,
wait, Foxy's here?
Dee said she heard the same thing.
I think y'all are just teaming up.
Sent her a text message like, hey,
I'm very impressionable
go
right now.
Steven with me.
I can be convinced of most things right now.
There's an axolotl egg watch this evening.
Ooh, well, that's perfect. All your axolotl questions can be answered while you are watching axolotls in an egg.
And I feel like I heard that Lori is no longer allowed to make any guesses on when eggs are going to hatch. Is that right?
I think so. There's a link to the Egg Watch stream. Good night, Green Machine Sweden.
So yeah, somebody like private message Lori and get her guess. Lori is banned from guessing. Does Lori take bribes? You have a picture of what?
Everybody can be bought.
Of an axolotl?
No.
Okay.
I was looking at Google Photos, and I did take
cubes. What?
Yeah. Oh, for the eggs. That's right. That's right. You don't remember that?
No, don't worry. RSD isn't real, and I know I definitely don't have it like 24/7.
Do you know what RSD is?
Rejection sensitivity dysphoria.
Correct. Yeah, it's fake. No, definitely. Definitely don't feel that. I'm never in my head because of fish keeping. Always relaxed. Best plants are low light plants for axolotls. Anubias jungle valve boost. That makes sense too. They survive their slime. Oh, so it's not the axolotls just munch on them. Axolotls are just like icky.
Oh, wait, there's a word for that. Yeah.
Yep, you can take your general anxiety and divide it up into highly specific categories.
But RSD is a little bit specific, right?
Yeah, it's more like when you have like ADHD and you kind of grown up in an environment where you were treated as lesser and incapable, and so you start to and you start to question every interaction that you have with someone. It's like, were they actually nice? Did they actually like me, or was I saying stupid things and they ended the conversation early because they didn't like me? Like just random stuff like that that you kind of have to get over mentally, and you can't, but you have to.
And you think that means that it takes you a little bit more time to like trust people's intentions?
And then that can be destroyed and reset very easily. So Whip said, before I take off, I know they aren't making them anymore, but the co-op light is the light responsible for the non-death of that sword. So perhaps they should reconsider. Yeah, not by choice,
Yeah, she
unfortunately.
said the
Yeah.
manufacturer quit us. We didn't quit them.
Well, maybe this will be an opportunity to make an even better light. I would love to see a light that just kind of like upends the whole Amazon cheap light choices. Something entirely different. They lay their eggs on plants. They're slimy strings, just like frog eggs, but much bigger. Ew, Foxy. Why do you like these things?
It totally never pops up in my mind at 2 a.m. How late were you up last night?
Well, I went to bed at about 1:30, and then I woke up at 4 a.m. and here I am. That's how that goes.
Oh, you never went. No, you were asleep at
Maybe.
8:30.
Yeah, maybe
So,
off and on. I tried, but then there was like I have a meeting, and so it was more like an anxious light sleep.
mhm.
Anyone else ever imagine biting into an MTS? Yeah.
What?
Yep. They're
No.
okay. You ever tried? No, you don't. Crushing a snail against the glass to
No,
feed other fish.
I would not do that.
It's much tougher to do that with an MTS. And so I
So it would
imagine,
just hurt your teeth?
well, I wouldn't actually do it. I just imagine it. I think about it.
And do you imagine chewing on some aluminum foil?
No, that's a
Yeah.
crazy thought.
Don't you hurt children.
Shower thoughts would be perfect. Anyway, was I looking at Axies are awesome. You take that back. They really are awesome. Just, apparently they're slimy too. I would probably have an axolotl if they could just go in a community tank with everything else without really thinking about it, like an eel or something like that, like the red tail eels. They're awesome. Is it crazy because you've done it and know it feels gross? like bite the aluminum foil, no.
I think a lot of people have accidentally chewed aluminum foil before, like you ate something that was wrapped in foil and like a little piece was still on.
Oh, maybe. Perhaps. That's different.
Oh yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, that's good. You're normal, Zen. Totally.
How many people have tasted Rapashi?
Me. Don't recommend it. Or maybe the gecko Rapashi. It smells pleasant. It could be okay. Just
Yeah,
I don't remember which kind I tasted, but it wasn't good.
there's like I'm pretty sure there's still like bugs or something in it. It just smells like mango
Well,
or banana. Oh,
speaking of which,
Brandon
I
has tasted Rapashi too. What do
wanted
you
to
want to
show
show?
all of the bulbitis that I removed from the puffer tank because it really snuck up on me and it was taking up more space than I thought. But it's bulbitis was on the plant form, and then I had a lot of requests for it, so I think I removed it. But I was like, this is an opportunity to take a photo and use a banana for scale.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
Now, when
removed
you
more.
say you removed it, you don't mean that like the people who requested it aren't getting it. You just
Yeah, no,
mean that you
fuck
don't have
those people.
65 portions of it.
It's in a 5-gallon bucket, and I removed some from another tank, and that 5-gallon bucket is full of it, and I filled it with water. So, and look at the duckweed too. I'm getting there though with the duckweed removal, which everything that I've done this week for duckweed removal will be reversed next week when I don't feel like doing it again. But yeah,
Stop
bulbitis.
interrupting him. I was told to stop interrupting you. I have not interrupted him once, Salient. Just in case you didn't know, this is the Me Gaslighting Men stream.
You just did. But it's
No.
okay.
Dee Dee agrees with me that I did not.
Okay. It's just a joke, Jenna. Jesus.
Mary also sleeps like that. Usually grabs a coffee and do a water change cleanup and take a nap in the afternoon.
And that, you know what, that is a smart thing to do. Whenever you can't sleep and you can't sleep, get up and go be productive. Do something that you are able to do, even if you're kind of like groggy, tired brain. But you know what I do instead? I just lay down in anger. I just continue to stay horizontal and seethe. I didn't hear her do that. I'm definitely something's wrong with me today.
Is
For sure.
is interrupting you the same thing as edging?
Oh my god. I don't know how to. The funny thing is you interrupted him to say that. I know.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what kind so Shirley has also tasted Rapashi. What did it taste like? Uh the one that we had was did I also try Rapashi? Was that the one that we both ate?
I don't
I know
know.
I ate an algae wafer. I think I might have ate a snail cookie.
Yeah, the Rapashi was worse. Like it was the worst of all of them. Even the Snello.
Maybe
Rapashi was
Snello
worse.
is what we both had.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember that. That was with Myrtle.
Yeah, didn't he eat some in solidarity too?
Snello or a wafer or something like
Something.
that.
Something. She said it tasted a lot like grass.
Tastes very green. I do remember describing the taste as green. Do I have any other pretty pictures? Yeah,
No.
kind of, not really.
What are you gonna show a picture of?
Boost bowl, just
Oh,
recent.
there's a
It's flowering. There's a flower. That means the
yeah.
boost is very, very distressed, and it really wants to leave the bowl. And so it's trying to reproduce to send what it thinks is some pollen downstream to get away from this hellhole of the bowl,
Is
and it's not gonna.
is Boost one of the many aquatic plants that don't want to be underwater?
Well, I wouldn't say many that don't wanna, but it's like in the spectrum of plants that grow above the water, this one really, really prefers to be above the water and is not as adaptable under the water. But you can, I mean, you can still grow it. You just have to dim the light. Dim the light more than people want to dim their lights, and then you really won't get algae on it. It just will grow really, 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 really slow.
Is that what Boost flowers mean?
That's the theory, Foxy. Haven't spoken to my boosts to like confirm it, but that's what people have said.
I also have whatever my sword is. I don't know if it's a Socorno or if it's a red flame. You said that you're not sure, but it is flowering out of my 55.
Yeah, and that is so like that sword there is a good example of CO2 versus no CO2. In fact, I might have a photo of your tank because I had removed a bunch of bulbitis from it and some duckweed, and I was like, and I was doing a water change, and
Oh,
so I
you
took
took
a
a
photo.
picture of the Java fern.
Yeah, I did, but I took a front photo. So this sword right here. So this sword is
Oh, you can see the flower over there. It just is down. There you go.
So this is a no CO2 tank. This sword has been in this tank for 2.5 years, and it took that long for it to reach this mass. Like I've never trimmed leaves from it, or like did any kind of maintenance to it. Just let it grow. Now, and it's just for the first time starting to flower, reproduce baby swords there. Now, in a same amount of time in a CO2 injected tank, I've had that same kind of sword do this, reach this height within months and flower for me like 20 times and make baby swords. And it's just like this sword is doing really well and it's growing actively.
And the flowers of the sword are actually pretty.
Yeah. Well, they're okay.
I mean, they're prettier than the Boost flower. They're prettier than a dumb Anubias flower.
I would agree with that for sure. But yeah, it's just a matter of like everything is doing fine, everything looks fine, and then you compare it to like CO2, and it's like holy shit, the plant mass on that.
And you got a picture of the Java fern too that took a long time to get where it is.
Oh yeah, another 2.5 years of Java fern growth, and then again like that same amount of Java fern, and it looks good too. Like it doesn't give it a lot of nutrients. It's really close to the light, but I fertilized the shit out of this tank too.
And I mean, that's a 55. What's the front to back? Is it 12 inches?
13
inches. So that's like a at least foot diameter.
But yeah, this is, I mean, 2.5 years of growth. I don't know. I don't remember how much I started with, but
not that much.
It would, to get this amount of Java fern and CO2 injection, it would take I don't know, 3 months if you're like fertilizing it very diligently. And that's like with these low tech plants like that, that's the major difference. Is just speed of growth. And so like if you are doing Java Fern or Swords or something like that, or will buy this for profit, the spending the $300 on like a CO2 setup, I could probably, if I cared about customer service and people and like and selling and stuff, I could probably pay for that CO2 system in a couple of months and then do whatever I want with it. And so Passing Wind says, I finally have a CO2 setup in working because I got a regulator for Christmas. Sweet. And did I just see Jody P do a crazy thing?
Yeah, she gifted 20 memberships.
Thank you, Jody. Jody got a nice shout out yesterday. Was it yesterday in Corey's stream for being super supportive everywhere. Awesome, awesome person. Let's see. YouTube was like, nope. YouTube gave it out to 4 people. Maxed out. Wow. But my maximum members keeps going up though.
Oh, how many members do you have, and can you make a new emoji? Do you have enough to make a new emoji?
Is there an emoji idea or something? I could replace an existing emoji.
You had an emoji idea.
And I totally remember that. Yeah.
The idea was a pink wheel for Branton.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Sorry if it was a secret. Remember things and then it can stay secret.
I was trying to gatekeep my emoji ideas and you just ruined it.
Anyway, Foxy says her boost grew 18 additional inches while flowering for its life.
Maybe it means it's happy. I don't know. Just everything that I've read and heard about it and knowing where it comes from, it seems like it's like a desperate. It's like I don't know. Never mind. I was just gonna say it's a desperate plea for survival. Basically, what it is.
Jody wants to know if she can just cut her well water with RO instead of going all RO and remineralizing. That's what Dee Dee does.
Yeah.
And if it's just for plants, I think you would only need it to be RO if you're doing like fancy Caridina or salt water, right?
Yeah, like when you need,
or if you have whips water.
Or if Jody wants to go full blown like that, the 0 kH high tech CO2 injected setup, that's a lot of water though. That's a lot. I'd probably do half and half or something to start with, because I mean that would get her down to like 7-8 degrees kH, and you know it's kind of what we're working with, and injecting CO2, perfectly reasonable.
Someone smoked a deer passing me hard enough to deploy all the airbags.
Whoa.
Okay, would those plants going into a non-CO2 tank from your CO2 tank cause any issues?
Not typically.
Only if it's a plant that like really requires CO2, which is a smaller amount of plants than don't require CO2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there are less plants that like you would say require CO2.
Like everything that's on the plant form, other than like the Surprise Me CO2 injected option, do not require CO2 injection. But for mass, I have a lot of them growing in CO2. And there typically is not, there's going to be an adjustment period just because it's going from one environment to another. But it's not like a huge deal just because it like had access to more nutrients than it will when it gets to your water. Like there's an adjustment period, but that's like moving any plant from one environment to another. Who's messaging me? Oh my God. Who? I'm getting spammed.
Well, Zen asks if Jody will adopt her.
Well,
what's the next emoji? 46-year-old alleged lady. I think Zen is very ladylike.
Bare Bottom Branton. Jeff Kane sent me the copper tone gives you a better tan ad of like the dog. You ever seen that ad? I'm not going to show it on stream, but
wait, what ad?
I'll show it to you later. Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
Foxy says she can't gatekeep her emojis because you have to fix them for her.
Yeah. I could steal some of those.
Oh, look, Branton didn't hear with the other emoji. He just heard his name. So nobody tell him. He doesn't know how to rewind the stream.
Oh, well. See, can I add another emoji now? I can't even navigate analytics. This is work.
And Anna Banana says to Jody, that's what she does. She cuts her Nebraska water with RO 1-to-1. QC Aquaholic says the booths in his 36 bow front are doing fantastic. They started off at just 6 leaves, and now each one is easily 50 leaves.
Nice. How long did that take? And with or without CO2 injection?
But every other tank with boosts, it struggles.
Is it different kinds of boosts? Because I know there's some boosts, and I don't even know which ones, but like there are some that, you know, they harvest from the wild irresponsibly, and then they get to your tank and it turns out, oh, that one's like not even remotely possibly aquatic and it will always die. Yeah, it could be different factors with it. I've had some issues with it too, like where it's under low light and still gets algae. It's weird. It's weird. And my conclusion is that it just like hates everything that we're doing to it, no matter what. And sometimes it adapts. All right. Getting distracted by the messages.
Stan says the Aussie Adrian uses soda water for CO2. Have y'all ever heard of that?
So yeah, like what you call it, club soda.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
like
I've definitely heard of doing that to add CO2 to the water.
You've heard of doing the like sugar thing too?
Oh yeah, the yeast and sugar, that's the DIY CO2 generator, but like directly pouring club soda. And I know that's like a method that people have used on their plants to get rid of or like hitchhikers and stuff. They call it reverse respiration. Even though like it's just no respiration, it basically is what it does. But I mean, you add CO2 to the water, I don't know. Like there's probably various methods of doing that. Pressurized injection is consistent and reliable. So the Bowfront's boost is probably 3 years old. I used to have CO2, stopped that about years ago. Okay.
A long time ago, a very smart and well-dressed man told me it's not worth it to do soda water or CO2 due to the inconsistencies.
Well, yeah, that's the reason why most people who continue with CO2 eventually wind up in pressurized injection with a full canister and a regulator, because they see the benefit of CO2 and they see the downside of inconsistent CO2 and having to like replenish it and monitor levels and all that. So yeah, like Bob just said, people end up wasting so much time and money trying to avoid buying a regulator, and they end up spending a regulator's worth of money only to conclude that if they want to keep doing it right. They need a regulator.
I feel like you should make Melissa a mod, but make her a managing mod so that she can time Matt out whenever he says nonsense about her.
Daniel says, have you kept Crypt Key? I haven't. Is it easy? CO2 needed? Just got as a gift from an Aquarium Society friend.
I think most crypts are not CO2 necessary, right?
As far as I know, they're not. I mean, there's pink flamingo, which who knows what that plant wants? I don't know. I've given it everything, and it gives me nothing but pain. But yeah, I don't know specifically about Crypt Key, but I would go out on a limb and say it probably will do okay in low tech and just be slow like most crypts are. I'm gonna look that up, see what it looks like. I like new crypts.
I wonder if that's the one. You were on that Planet Tank auction Friday before the stream, and there was one plant that you're like, oh, Daniel Velez is going for this plant too.
You might be right. You might be right. Yep. I was looking on Planet Tank quick auctions and saw Daniel bidding on something. That might be it.
Daniel, he was spying on you. I just called him out on it.
Always stalking plants and plant people.
QC says Epsom baking soda and citric acid is the CO2 I use right now. It's on a 40 breeder.
Okay. That's man, how often do you have to replenish it? And how much CO2 are you injecting, I guess? Because if I like a 5 pound CO2 canister on a 40 breeder for me is like 4 months, because I'm doing maximum safe levels with that. When you guys clean your Anna Banana said, I think this is how Takashi Amano pioneered CO2, adding soda, sparkling water. I think that's like an urban myth type of thing, but yeah, like something like that.
Also, I don't think you would be so mean as to mute me. Plus, I have the same access, so I could just mute you.
So process for regulator. I've never had to clean a regulator for like a CO2 regulator. The diffusers will sometimes get some algae or mulm buildup, and you can either do a half bleach, half water soak for like, I don't know, you can do it overnight, an hour or whatever, followed by several hours of dechlorinated water soak. I use hydrogen peroxide to soak them overnight. And I keep a rotation of diffuser discs for that very reason, just so I can just pop one out and replace it, soak it, and it'll be ready next time I'm ready to replace it.
He said I have to reload about every 3 weeks. QC Aquaholics. I'm dosing 1 button per second.
One bubble
per second. Well,
maybe it's measured in
right
buttons. I know. I inferred bubble, but maybe there's buttons.
Well, you involved. Also haven't slept.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that regulator.
Do you keep, man, like there's not a lot of results for this Crypt Key. It's pretty though. It's pretty.
Geek Boy says he's never cleaned his regulators in 20 years. He's swapped O-rings.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I haven't had to do that yet. Well, the what's it called? The nylon gaskets. I don't know.
Zen is currently having issues with her regulator output as of a few days ago, hoping it's the back pressure and not the actual equipment.
Well, check your check valve, because that's the shittiest part of a CO2 system if you use them. If you use like a plastic one, even the brass ones are just garbage. They all wear out really quickly, I guess, because the acidity of the CO2 they just can't hold up very well. But in time, they wear out. That's the first thing I go to now if I'm like, oh, my bubble count is slowing down and my pressure is not changing. So yeah.
Passing Wind got the F zone. I don't know what like model that is. But considering its country of origin, when I got it, I took it all apart to make sure all the O-rings are sealed nicely, and it's been working like a champ.
Yep.
Also, Daniel lost that auction, but his buddy had it, and he sent it to me. He sent him 2. If it does well, he will send you 1.
Awesome. Thanks. I like acquiring new crypts for sure. Mary Oliver said, lush and salty grows a pink flamingo. Yeah, so there's a lot of people who have it growing really well for them with under the same conditions. It's just the thing about pink flamingo, it's an unstable, I don't know, Kelly describes it right. Unstable cultivar. It can do well for a while. It can do well never, or it can just like kind of truck along a little bit okay for a while. Like it varies, and it doesn't seem to be as condition dependent as like a regular crypt
unstable
would be.
Unless Zen owns it.
And then there's Zen. And I can't explain Zen.
So Celia wants to know what kind of filtration on the tank behind you.
Fluval 307. Fluval 307 canister. Yeah.
The one on mine, he also asked me, on the tank behind me, it's a 407, right?
Yeah.
And
mine, the one behind me is a 40, one behind you is 55 gallon.
So canisters, the 90 gallon is on an FX6. The puffer tank is on the other 407. And the rest of them are largely hang on the back, except for the boost bowl is not a hang on the back filter, right?
I mean, I got the shitty all-in-one, the Fluval Flexes, I guess, whatever you want to call those. I call them like bad filters. But yeah, hang on the back, some sponge filters, and that little internal filter in the bowl. Yeah, it's all. My philosophy on filtration is like, does it move the water through the stuff that has the stuff on it, the bacteria?
Oh, and you have
does
a
it
pond
keep the
pump
water? Yeah, that also moves
pond.
water. Yep, it moves the water. And it's like, how much water do you need to move, and how much water polishing do you need to do? That's kind of like, I do not overthink filtration. I used to overthink the shit out of filtration, and yeah, now I just realize water movement is important. You know, certainly wouldn't want a swamp. How sensitive is boost to hydrogen peroxide treatment for algae? I don't know, because I wouldn't do that on boost. It probably is exposure time dependent. What did I miss?
No, just that you wouldn't want a swamp.
Oh,
if you didn't watch the stream yesterday with
Corey on Patty's Aquatics. So much controversy. Swamp. Don't get started on that swamp guy. Don't want no swamps.
Too Coolly asked, how sensitive is boost to hydrogen peroxide treatment for algae?
Yeah, I just answered that. It's
I
dependent on exposure. I know. God. It's exposed. It's dependent on exposure time. It's going to be corrosive to the leaves, and usually if you've got a leaf that's really, really riddled with algae, it's best to just trim that leaf, as much as it sucks because the leaves grow so damn slow. Zen took the check valve off, but I think I'm gonna have to go back to water. The last time there was oil in the drip loop, and I think it may again. So, I mean, sometimes the oil pushes through, and there's a little bit of oil. Just kind of get it out.
And then this is about the pink flamingo.
I bet she does. Zen just buys a new one every week to screw with Steven. Yep. Brandon's pink flamingo said he is doing fine. Yeah, mine. I still have 4 of them that are alive. I wouldn't call it like the ultimate specimen of a plant. Like if it doesn't do something soon, I might just throw it away anyway because make room for something that will cooperate.
I
Which
think
is what people should do with plants. Is like if they're not cooperating, throw them away. There are like 600 aquarium plants. Try a different one.
Shirley said, I got 2 used Fluval 407s for free, which is awesome since I could never afford one otherwise. I think our 2 407s were also kind of sort of free in the sense of we participated into Aquashella escapes. And
yeah, that was nice to get that rimless tank
stuff
and the 2 Fluval 3.0s. Yeah, that's what the puffer tank is. Very high end setup that I would never buy on my own.
Dee Dee said her pink panther that Foxy sent her melted back, but it has emerged and hopefully it will keep going. QC Aquaholic, I first tried out that $12 2-liter bottle CO2 mixer, but it ended up gassing out the tank.
Yeah, those are hard to control, unfortunately.
Mickey M, all of my Cryptocorin do well in room temp tanks with low light, planted in gravel and kept in soft water planted tanks.
Yep. I think I have crypts in every single tank, in every situation. They're pretty adaptable, unless it's a fucking pink flamingo. Yeah,
I remember reading and researching.
So much on filters, HOBs, canisters, and now he uses sponges exclusively. Yeah.
Zen's going to start a swamp discus tank.
All them swamps. What is a swamp? Like, is
so
it like we looked it up?
We looked it up. It's essentially a flooded forest.
Isn't that every Amazon tributary is a flooded forest that's just like super tannic, and that's like where the discus live? I mean, it's just I'm asking legitimately.
No,
I don't know the natural habitat.
No, the discus live in cow fields and eat them.
I mean, they don't live in Louisiana's marsh or anything.
Eat their hearts.
Oh, God. The beef heart controversy. I don't even want to go there.
Super clean cow fields that are kept exactly at 82 degrees. And
do these cow fields get daily water changes?
And it rains perfectly clean water every 4 hours.
Okay. No wonder they're so fragile, right?
What would be a good treatment for scuds on new plants before they go in tanks?
Fish. How did Hydro Chai work compared to Pink Flamingo? I feel like you're giving it a bad name when there's so many more temperamental plants. Yeah, the Hydro Chai, the Hydro Chai, at least it was honest about its ability to die. Like, it didn't waste any time before it disappeared, so I wasn't like holding on to hope or anything like that. It only eats the hearts. Yeah. Discus are not real like birds. That's true.
Mary's hang on the back flooded her room last week. Tipped it without her noticing until her feet stepped soaked beside the rug. We've also had hang on the backs. What is it that messes up in there and then it starts like just dripping?
Well, in my case, it was just negligence. I put a bunch of filter floss after escaping or like doing a bunch of rearranging in Lillian's tank, and I let the filter floss go and go and go, and eventually it just backs up and overflows the hang on the back. It's a real problem. You gotta keep on top of it, or in most cases, what I do now is I have like a sponge in the hang on the back. I like fill the chamber up about halfway, and that's fine. Shirley mostly uses sponge filters, and 28-ish tanks do have two 407s on 155 and 175, and a few HOBs on a few other tanks. Yeah.
Not all the Amazon tributaries are swamps. They're
Okay.
actual rivers, but flood during the rain season.
Yeah, I just don't like. I know that some of them are highly tannic, and there's other ones that are like, I mean, the Amazon itself has whitewater areas, and I don't know off the top of my head where the actual discus come from. I probably, much like rainbow fish, even rainbow fish can be in rivers and lakes and swamps, depending on your definition of a swamp, which, yeah.
Big Cat said so it was never aliens dismembering cows. It was discus the whole time.
See, I think the chai is harder, Kelly said. I can at least grow flamingo as long as I do not move it. Yeah.
Mickey, I believe a lot of your problem with plants got to do with your often hard water and perhaps sometimes move to soft water or CO2 specific tank. We have the problem with hornswort.
Yeah, the hornwort. Yeah. Yeah, the hornwort is like, oh, environment change, shedding all the leaves. And yeah, or at least that's what I've heard, because I've never actually kept hornwort because I was warned against it for that very reason. And yeah, most of the US has very hard water, and hard water is usually accompanied by high alkalinity, and it's the high alkalinity is the problem with plants, because the high KH becomes the dominant species of carbon, and it blocks the bioavailability of CO2 dissolved in your water. And so that's why like CO2 injection can sort of help get over the hump of that, but it's not foolproof when you have like extra super duper like KH 2022 water.
So to get my discus to come out more, I need a tank big enough for cows to stand in it.
But then again, like there's also plants that use bicarbonates. So it's not like you cannot grow plants because you have hard water. Like there are tons of people in chat that are doing that. You just got to choose the right plants, the ones that can take that bicarbonate, convert it to CO2 relatively efficient. It'll never be as efficient as just straight up CO2, but they will still do just fine. Below Water has a good video on discus natural habitat. I'm sure they do. I should go check that out. They have some fantastic videos and information.
What do you call water with high GH but low KH? I think most people would just call it hard water, right?
Yep. High. It's when we're talking about water hardness and whether water is hard, it is entirely divalent cations, which is calcium and magnesium primarily. So high GH is hard water. High KH and low GH is still soft water, regardless of what your TDS meter says.
So you could have a TDS that's like 700 and it's all KH and
that would be unlikely and insane and like a horrific situation. But I guess technically, yeah. Like our TDS out of the tap, I don't know, it's like 110, 120. And if you told someone that TDS, they'd be like, oh, you have medium hard water. But actually, no, we have extremely soft water. You go to my parents' house, on their well, their TDS is like 6. They also have extremely soft water. In fact, our water is just as soft as theirs, but ours just happens to have bicarbonates, sodium bicarbonate, because it starts off as medium hard water and then cation exchange in the clay soil in the south gets rid of the calcium and magnesium. Yeah, Mickey, KH 20 to 22. It's a reality for millions of people in the US.
Stan says that's my tap off the charts. KH 800 TDS.
But then like Branton's KH is also off the charts. Like is really high. Jody's KH is pretty damn high. Doesn't mean they can't. They are absolutely growing plants and doing really well with them. It's just in the right environment, right conditions, right plants. You just can't grow a super wide variety of the hundreds and hundreds of species of aquatic plants out there. That's all. pH is about 7, off the chart GH and 40 or less KH. And yeah, the off the chart GH is not a big deal, honestly. Branton grows plants like a boss. I would say like middle management, Branton. Let's be honest here. You don't get to be CEO unless you get some CO2. Crypt Keeper gave me a flamingo at Clash, and it's doing well. It's also still in the pot. I should have left mine in the damn pot. Yeah, Tim gave me one too, and I'm keeping it alive. And that's about all I can say about that. Brandon pees in his tanks. That's his secret. Yep, I knew it.
Do plants like extra ammonia?
I mean, to an extent, plants love it. They like it more than nitrate because they got to convert the nitrate to ammonia anyway. So it's their favorite nitrogen. What time is it? Is Scotty going live and Steenfot going live and Hagen Hill going live? And there's about to be like 1 million streams.
Yeah, and
you have to make a choice, people. And I don't.
My choice is going to be going to the store because we need something for dinner.
Yeah, and I still have a project that's wrapping up that's due. Thank you, government, on New Year's Eve. So I'm gonna wrap that up tonight too. So I think we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye and let everyone have 8 minutes back.
Give them 8 minutes of their time. Spoken like a project manager.
Yeah. Scotty is ready, he says in all caps.
He took a nice nap during our stream so that he could be ready for his stream. Scotty, you can stream if you do not look at your phone during the stream. You are an appropriate size to your background. You do not play any background music. And you are focused 99% on the stream and not on oh my god, and not on every single sound your cats make. Those
basically
are your conditions.
Be interesting, Scotty, and we'll watch, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I will be at the store, so I can't watch. I can't watch anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna be mega lurking. Okie dokie, we're gonna go. Happy New Year, everyone. We'll see you on Friday.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all stopping by. Hopefully you learned something, even though Kelly's not here. See y'all later. Bye.
Bye.